Ever tell you about my boss who came into work drunk? I think 90% of the time that he was my boss.
No.
So he was an angry fellow, and he was a single dude, and he lived alone, and he'd always come into work at like 10:30 in the morning or 11, wearing sunglasses inside, and just like acting like he hated everything. Was not fond of loud noises. Couldn't really tell how bloodshot his eyes were because he had sunglasses on, but I'm pretty sure he just kind of drank himself to sleep every night and then came in when he woke up the next morning hungover. Not a great time. Not a good time for him. Anyway.
Probably not.
No.
Probably not.
No, definitely not.
Keep it light.
Merry Christmas, everyone. All right, so we're here to talk about the Star Wars, specifically Rise of Skywalker, otherwise known as ROS, which is also rodents of unusual size. Actually, that's RUS. Never mind, forget that. Roz, possibly. So we talked about this on the Discord quite a bit, had a somewhat discussion about it, didn't want to get too far into it because of the pod. But bottom line, I have some opinions, and Duddles has some opinions, and they don't agree, and Samacron is somewhere in the middle. So we figured we'd get 3 people on the pod to discuss it from different points of view, which I think is going to be interesting. And who wants to go first?
Well, I actually did this wrong. I was trying to do my homework. I went and saw Cats.
Ah, of course
I
you
saw
did.
the wrong movie. I think that's why we have such wildly different opinions about the plot line.
Does Cats have a plot line?
No.
Apparently,
no
it's just
plot.
a bunch of horny cat people.
I think they're planning on patching that in with the
God,
rest
yeah.
of their updates.
So I did listen to a pod about Cats, and effectively, the original musical was there were these poems by T.S. Eliot from the 20s. He wrote about cats for his grandkids, and they got published. And for some reason, Andrew Lloyd Webber was like, "This will make a musical," and he did it, and it was hugely popular. But there is no plot because there is no plot.
Yeah, and then they're like, "Do you know what we should do? We should get some, B-list actors and
B-list?
make them like pretty naked." That's A-list.
Idris Elba's in there. You respect Idris Elba, good sir.
No, I love him, but I mean, would you consider him an A-list celebrity?
He's been bandied around to be the next Bond. I think Idris Elba is legit.
He's already
oh, yeah.
said he's not going to be.
Okay,
Just
but
to
I'm
throw
just
that
But
out.
he would have been perfect.
But if you're a C-list or a B-list, you don't get suggested seriously to be the next Bond, is all I'm saying.
Daniel Craig wasn't A-list before he was Bond, then all of a sudden he is. Pierce Brosnan wasn't either, Like, these guys became A-list actors because of that role, right?
No. How far do we want to get into this thing?
We've got time.
Look, Daniel Craig
fine.
is not just some rando who they decided to make James Bond. He has a
B-list is
really
huge. B-list
long-
is still a very, very, very famous person.
Okay, so tell me one person who's an A-list and one person who's a B-list.
Okay, like Tom Cruise A-list.
Okay, fine.
Like,
got it.
literally
Idris Elba,
everyone in the
B-list.
world. Yeah, exactly. Like, compare him to Tom Cruise. Like, that's... Or like...
Okay, so for you, A-list is worldwide recognized. They show up
Yeah,
on the street
like
of
literally-
Malaysia, and everyone's like, Tom Cruise.
Yeah, like, oh my god, John Travolta.
Yeah.
Like, I loved you in Greece.
Okay.
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah. No, I got it. So in that case, fine. Idris
yeah.
Elba is not that level of A-list.
No, and he will be, though. He's a phenomenal actor. He's had a great career, and
Yes.
he's in like, everybody recognizes him. That's why he's B-list, like, but not everybody knows his name.
Okay. All right. Anyway, where did we... James Corden, you would say is... Okay, I would say he's B-list. Taylor Swift is in there. Taylor Swift
Yeah.
is
Yeah,
worldwide recognizable.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw a joke. Someone was saying, so like Taylor Swift was right whenever she wrote that song saying I was going to be
Like the centerpiece of your bad dream or whatever, because I watched Cats and it was a freaking nightmare.
That's funny.
That's entirely fair. Anyway,
I
the
don't
point
know the
is,
actual
it's a bunch of
song,
people of mixed famousness dressing up in cat suits and doing weird stuff. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Apparently,
So anyway, Star
Wars.
Wars.
well, apparently the suits were CGI.
Wouldn't
The
surprise
cat suits?
That's what
Or
I read.
Star Wars.
The cat suits are CGI, like the
Yeah, apparently
fur
they're
and
just like
everything.
CGI'd naked cats. But like wearing top hats or something for no reason.
Ridiculous. Okay.
It's
The
from
thing
what
I
I
don't get-
it is just a sexualized like atrocity.
me. The thing I don't get is the cats still have human hands.
Yes, they sure do. They don't have paws.
They don't give them paws. Like,
That freaks me out.
I'm with you.
My other favorite review is like, so I'm not much of a Cats person, but then I watched this movie and I don't think I'm a movie person either.
Oh, that's great.
So Copenhagen Das really wanted us to watch Cats so we could see how much we hate it. I think this is as close as we're gonna get, man. That's about it. I listened
I'm
to a
gonna
pod
watch
about
it. I'm not going to like go to the theater to watch it. Even though a lot of people
it's the
said
same.
you need to because it's like it's that much more awkward because you're watching it with like a group of other people, you know. Like
Yeah,
I would
right.
go in and literally just sit next, like, you know, empty movie theater, one couple there. I'd go sit right next to them, just be like, we're gonna do this together, guys.
I was at work today, and one of my coworkers said she watched The Witcher with her family, like her
Wow.
entire family.
There's a
I was
lot
like,
of boobies in that. Uh-huh.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, is there?
Yes.
Yes.
I never played the games,
Movies.
and I really want to. From what I understand, they're amazing.
Yes.
So I watched like the first like 10, 20 minutes of it, and it looked promising, you know. But like, I just feel like I'm not gonna get as much out of it as people who like were obsessed with the game. Well,
Yes.
Well,
it's actually
most of the
books.
people,
they're
books,
books.
and most people are obsessed with like the third game. Like the
Yep.
second game, from what I hear, is fine, but the third game is like amazing, and this is all set before the third game. So
okay,
That's true.
so
So it's based off the books, not off the games. The books are old. They're like late 80s, early 90s. This Polish author created this whole series of The Witcher and his adventures. And then at some point they're like, hey, can we make video games about that? It's like, video games? What a passing fad. He's like, fine. Just pay me like, I don't know, $10,000. We'll call it good. And then The Witcher 3 sells like a bajillion copies, and he's kind of upset about that.
yeah, it's apparently one of the best. It's widely regarded by a lot of people as the best storyline video game ever made, right?
Yeah, I've got 170 hours in Witcher 3, so I'm
so you don't
all
like
on
it?
board. I do. And I talked about this again on the Discord and Twitter a little bit. Here's the problem. I'm coming at it from someone who loves Geralt of Rivia as the Witcher from the third game, which they do a great job about. Great job about developing him as a character and showing him as like a human and not just some like random monster hunter with no friends. So I come into it liking Geralt already, but then the show does literally nothing to help you see him as a human. He's a weirdo. He's an outcast. He talks to his horse. He doesn't have any friends. He's mean to his bard friend. So I wish
So
they'd done a
he's-
better job with it in the show, making him less of a monster hunter and more of a human being.
So he's the guy in Frozen who was raised by trolls.
What? No. That guy has friends. That guy makes friends in
Well,
the
they're
first
trolls.
Frozen
They're
movie.
rocks. He's friends with rocks.
Yeah, but he has human skills. Like in the show,
He
Geralt
talks-
just shows up at a bar and everybody hates him, and then he almost gets in fights and then leaves.
Yeah,
Like that's all
that's
it
where
is.
I stopped.
Right.
I saw that and I was like, okay, this is gonna require. But I just knew I didn't have the attention span for it at the time, so I was like, this isn't like a light watching. I have company over, but I can totally get away with watching this, so I had to turn it off.
Yeah.
fair.
Incredible.
So anyway, I saw this movie the other day. It was Mark Hamill was in it, for like a minute.
It's like a hot minute, yeah.
All right, so
okay, but
I'm gonna
that's-
get started with Star Wars.
So real quick, that's my whole review. Everything that happens in it happens for a hot minute.
Yeah,
It is
and that's
sequence
I
of
agree with you
30
completely.
second scenes.
You know, and
Yes.
everybody who I spoke to says the same thing, and it's like, here's what my hypothesis is what happened. J.J. Abrams was handed a steaming pile of dog shit from The Last Jedi. Like, I mean, even I don't even hate The Last Jedi that much, but like coming from a plot perspective, like Force Awakens set up this story arc, then the what's his face came in, John something,
Rian
right? I
Johnson.
forgot his name.
Rian Johnson.
Yeah. He came in and was like, do you know what? All of your plans, I don't like them. And just like derailed everything.
Yep.
And made and it by itself it wasn't bad, but as a saga it was a dumb movie. It was just stupid. Like that movie was just really poorly done. So J.J. Abrams has to come back and like try to fix it. Because for some reason he didn't just do the whole trilogy, you know, that it would have been so much better if he just did the whole trilogy. And so he came up and he like had to do like a 4-hour movie. You know, that's what it would take for him to make this right. He brings the producers. Producers are all like, "Oh, cool, yeah, I really like that, but can you go ahead and make it 2 hours?" And so what he did is he kept everything and just compressed it into a 2-hour film because it's just like that movie starts and it's like turning a treadmill on full speed and just running the entire time. You know, it's just so
Agreed.
rushed. Now, in certain parts of it, like I really liked the intro. I liked, and I know that's a lot of people's complaints, was it just started off too like you hit the ground running. I loved just like it following Kylo Ren around for like 10 minutes. And just like action, and him, it kind of exploding. It was like a 2-month, time frame of him all wrapped up in like 20 minutes, just showing. This just kind of shows you, hey, what's the day-to-day life like for Kylo Ren, and it showed you, and I think that was cool. Like that's him outside of these big. He's not just sitting on a Star Destroyer like plotting to blow up planets. He's doing other things. So that's one thing. But I mean, what I really don't like about it was we talked about some of it, like the fan service. Some of it was like just obnoxious. Other ones not so. I'm torn. I like some I like less. Like the medal being given to Chewie. I feel like they should have just not done that.
No. I'm actually on the opposite side of that. I don't mind that because I don't think it's like, oh, here, Chewie, we owed you this medal from 40 years ago. I feel like it's like the one prized possession Leia kept of her husband.
Yeah, because it was Han's. Yeah, so that...
It was Han's. And then it's like the family heirloom going to like the last living member of that family. Like, I have no problem with that.
That's sweet, but the reason they did that is because fans were upset because Chewie didn't get a medal.
I've
New Hope.
I've literally never heard a fan upset that Chewie didn't get a medal. Maybe that's just me.
Are
like
you kidding?
I've somehow missed this.
That's a big thing. That's like a big meme. Is like
They've got everybody
everybody's like,
standing up there at the end of New Hope. They're playing triumphant music. The humans get medals, and the other guy, who's non-human, who did just as much as the other guys did, gets no medal. It's a huge thing.
The whole point is that like everybody's racist against Wookiees.
Yeah.
Look, I get the rationale that Chewie should get a medal. I'm on board. I've just never heard of this complaint.
Huh.
Right?
Oh no, it was a big deal. It's like number 2 only to like Han shot first. That's like
Fair enough.
like the only other. That's like the other big thing I think from the original trilogies that had outrage.
Well, and that outrage is only because Luke has dinkered around with it 20 years later. It's not from original New Hope. Like he shot
exactly.
first, and then Lucas came in later and switched it up, and that's what they were mad about. So yeah, as far
And
as
they switched it up again.
What?
That they on the Disney Plus version they edited that scene again.
How'd they change it?
So like, what's his name? Grease or whatever. Greedo. Yeah, he like yells a word that literally like even people who were like writers and stuff for it, they like went back and talked to other people and like that, and everybody's like, yeah, I don't know what that word means. They like added. He like said something. What is he?
You're losing us.
But what's the intent here? The intent is that he yelled something.
Maclunky. Greedo says Maclunky
What the crap?
before he gets shot.
So what's the relevance?
They just added it.
What? Why?
He didn't say that before. Yeah. If you watch the new Disney Plus streaming service, you'll distinctly hear the alien shout Maclunky before he's famously shot by Han Solo.
But why?
I know, and that's the thing. Literally, no context. Nobody said. One second. Here's a video too.
Please.
This is media cannot be played. Oh, come on. What is
That's
this,
the thing
like,
that does make
Australians
sense about like Lucas going back and editing stuff. Like nobody would have complained if he had like the special edition Chewie gets a medal. They just like Photoshop a medal onto him. Nobody would have said anything. They would have been like, okay, fine. But instead, they're like putting stormtroopers on dinosaurs.
Wait, they did that?
Yes.
Oh, right, on Tatooine. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, they're writing blurgs. Hold on, I just realized this. So in The Mandalorian, there are blurgs on Tatooine, but I'm not sure that's what the Stormtroopers are writing in the specialized editions.
I don't know.
How does Storm Riders...
he says Maclunky. He totally says Maclunky.
What in the name? So they're writing dewbacks. They're not blurgs, because blurgs are 2 legs, and dewbacks are 4 legs.
Yes.
So they're different.
All right. So overall, if on a scale of 10, I give it a 7 out of 10, maybe a 7.5.
Where do you put Force Awakens?
Right, probably a 7.5, maybe. Yeah, right around the same.
Okay.
Prequels are like Phantom Menace. I give it a hard 4. Clone
Being
Wars,
generous, I
like,
see.
Clone Wars gets a 5, and then Revenge of the Sith gets a 6.
Okay.
Like, so I think that the new trilogy is ultimately better than the prequels. But that's, again, like, it's like saying that the new movie is better than The Last Jedi. You're not setting the bar very high whenever you say that.
Right.
But I mean, there's some elements of the prequels that I absolutely love, and there's elements about the new trilogy that I love. There's things a prequel had. There's like like kind of like a magic fantasy sense to it, where the new movies like tried to have grit, and I know this is a cliche, but like they tried to be too funny, which is annoying because it's different. Like in the original trilogy, yeah, it was funny, but it was funny in a way that wasn't like they weren't writing it because they're like, okay, now here's the part where we make the audience in the movie theater laugh, but nobody's ever going to laugh at it again, which is like the most Disney Marvel kind of thing to do. Like, where it's like, hey, here's a moment that doesn't actually fit in the movie, but since you're going to see it the first time, you're going to be like, that was surprising. like in The Last Jedi, the intro, and where he's like, can you hear me now? Oh, maybe it's on your end. Okay, I'll hold. Like, that was so stupid.
It was bad. It was bad in the theater. I don't hear people
Now,
laughing.
I saw it and I was like, oh, I can't believe this made the cut for them. Like, that's them not taking it seriously, But
Right,
so in the new...
This movie's version is, they fly now.
Yeah, they fly now? They fly now!
And then
Yeah,
if you
right,
look
but that
at the
was-
canon, there have been flying stormtroopers for 40 years. Shut up, all of you. I hate every single person in this entire movie.
Yeah, yeah. And you'd think
Yeah.
the stormtrooper would know that.
You'd think. What can I say?
man.
They were all doing drugs. I mean, that literally takes place at Burning Man. All right, that's
That's fair.
that festival. Yeah, that's Burning Man. Star Wars went to Burning Man for no reason.
And that's funny because they probably didn't even tell anybody. It's like, that's just how everybody was dressed.
Yeah.
So here's the problem with the story structure and why this went all bad. Instead of having somebody who had an overarching vision of how this trilogy should go, they said we're going to hire J.J. Abrams for the first movie because he's good at getting things started. And he was. Force Awakens is a great movie. It's a rehash of New Hope, but it got everybody back into the Star Wars mindset, and people enjoyed it. And I saw it 2 or 3 times in the theater and enjoyed it every time. It was derivative, but it was good. And then they're like, who's another good director out there? Oh, Rian Johnson has a great resume. Let's have him do the second movie. And then he said, I'd like to burn everything down, please, and make my own movie outside of this trilogy. And they were like, oh, yeah, that sounds great, Rian Johnson. Why don't you do that? Let's change everything that Abrams set up in the first movie, burn it to the ground, and then we'll see how things go. And it made about $500 million less than The Last Jedi did, and they panicked. And Kathleen Kennedy said, oh, no, what can we do to make the money back? So we're at the $2 billion mark instead of the $1 billion and $500 million mark. Let's bring J.J. Abrams back, a man legendarily unable to end story satisfactorily, and see if he can do that for us. It's the worst mismanaging of Star Wars property I've ever seen. It is a worse mismanagement than the prequels, because at least Lucas had an idea of what he was trying to do in the prequels. There was nobody in charge of this trilogy who said, here's what we're trying to do, other than make a whole ton of money. That's it. That's the entire plan they had.
Technically accurate, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I actually 100% agree with you. Even though I think when it comes to J.J. Abrams, he's notorious for not only not doing a satisfactory ending, he's notorious for just not ending it.
Yes.
Right?
We
Like,
talked
have
about
you
this-
seen the Star Trek movies? What?
Right.
Where are those going? Like, he came up with these glorious ideas. He is the best person to start a project. Period.
Yep, 100%.
But I think, looking, especially whenever you keep in mind his cinematography, or like whatever, like his portfolio, if you will, it was pretty good. He closed it. I think he did pretty good.
Yeah, but just
Like,
by
it
doing
could have been
Return
way
of the
worse.
Jedi, he comes in, does Force Awakens by rehashing New Hope, and ends it by rehashing Return of the Jedi down to the molecular level here. This is Return of the Jedi in every possible way. It is. Hey,
Yeah,
the Darth Vader
even the closing
character
sequence, yeah.
turns back to the good side and helps kill the Emperor. Literally the Emperor. Yes, he sure did. What? How did we do that again? How are we going back to the same well? Oh, because it's J.J. Abrams, who also, within the Star Trek universe, just remade Wrath of Khan down to the molecular level. It's so dumb. He's bad at this.
Yeah. I really do get a lot of the complaints. I think that we hold Star Wars on a criticism level differently than literally any other movie. Like, if this exact movie were to have taken place, but it didn't involve like instead of the Jedi, it was just like something, very similar things, and it just wasn't Star Wars staple canon saga, people would have been like, dude, you need to watch this movie. It was pretty great, But like, since it's Star Wars, and like people, and I do it too. It's different. You watch the movie differently. And I never understood that, because the original trilogy, was it really that good, or is it just iconic?
No, New Hope and Empire Strikes Back are that good, right?
Empire
Return of the
Strikes
Jedi
Back is one of the best movies ever made.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure. But the reasons it's good is not like if they were to make that movie now in 2019, people would not like. I mean, yeah, it would make a crap ton of money and people would love it, but the internet would go absolutely nuts on how stupid it was, because they're dumb.
Because
they're
what?
dumb
But what
movies.
complaints would they have?
Well, Return of the Jedi for sure would have been really
Yeah, no,
bad.
we're talking about Empire, though.
Yeah, Empire. I think they would have just been like, man, the ending. I think people would have been upset, even though in my opinion, I liked the ending because the ending had balls. It was like, hey, the good guys didn't win this one.
Yep.
The acting, like whenever Luke gets his hand cut off, they'd be like, how? And then he just jumps down and like he falls down 40 stories and just lands, and then he's in space, but he's able to just hang out outside. And airplanes don't make noise in space. So I don't understand why
The one in space, they're in clouds.
Yeah, why do the good guys have red lasers, but the bad guys have green lasers, but then the good guys have green lightsaber? It just, people would just be stupid. I
don't know. I think the internet hasn't enough time to critique Empire, and it really hasn't happened yet. So I think it's a fine movie. Also, Lucas didn't direct it. When you ask why is it a good film, it's because Lucas didn't direct Empire. That's why it's
Did he
good.
really not?
He didn't.
Yeah.
Who
And
directed it?
I think
To be fair,
Lawrence Kasdan.
New Hope was also a terrible movie until someone else saved it in the edit, and then John Williams in the music, right? It wasn't Lucas. Lucas had this great idea of a world,
Yep.
right, which you didn't intend to flesh out in any way.
No.
But
He's an idea guy and a visual effects guy, and he is genius
Yes.
at both of these things. When it comes down to executing and creating a film, he's donkey balls. So Lawrence Kasdan wrote and directed The Empire Strikes Back, and he's got a killer resume. Anyway,
send me a link for his page, please.
Yeah, yeah.
His Wikipedia or whatever. IMDb or whatever
right.
you got.
So, opinions aside, I want to talk about Snoke.
okay.
Okay.
All right. So
he's super dead.
So
but
Snoke
yes.
was, yeah, he's super dead. Yeah, and he was dead in the last one, but then we find out that he's like a clone. But who's he clone of? Now, is he just a creation, or is it because I have a theory, and this is stupid, but this is my theory. So in the prequels, we talk about Darth Plagueis the Wise, right? And in the same conversation, he talks about, there are things you can do in the dark side that everybody else would consider, the Jedi would consider it unnatural. And so two things. I think that Snoke was actually like a clone of his previous leader, and that's why he looked like crap. That's why he was kind of looked like he was decomposed body, is because he that's the body they were given to clone. So they were able to replicate that and give it life and put the midichlorian count and memories and stuff and establish it through some evil dark side of the Force way. And that also makes me think that this Palpatine isn't the same person who was thrown, just thrown over off the Death Star ever, because that body's gone, right? There's no recovering that body. I think that they were able to clone him like the Sith on the planet, all the things that were doing things. I think that he was a clone himself of Palpatine, and was able to bring himself back into full power by absorbing the life force of Rey and Kylo Ren because of their linked force bond that they had, because apparently that's like food for cloned, decomposing, half-dead
So-
dark
whatever.
side Sith.
So Palpatine at the end of this movie is the original, or is just another clone?
I think that he's a clone.
Okay. Because I've seen theories that he's the original, and he's just been sending out, like, oh, he sent out a young Sheev to, go and establish the Empire, then inevitably somewhere along the way that guy gets killed, and he just sends out another one to run the Empire.
But
And he's just been kind of puppeteering stuff, and then it goes, oh, everyone knows the Sheev is dead. I know, I'll create this guy Snoke. Out of, like, and, it's still a Palpatine clone, it's just that, oh, I'm gonna fuck up his face a bit.
Yeah, maybe. I feel like he would have been a lot smarter, though. He wouldn't have been fooled by the lightsaber trick. Because I mean, this guy outforced Yoda. He outforced, like, the only person he didn't beat was Mace Windu, because he was an idiot in that fight. You know, because he gets so power hungry that he just keeps on trying to force. He Siths the way that I play StarCraft. Like, I will just keep on making Zerglings and throwing them at a wall that has like 8 shield batteries on it and like immortals and stuff. I'm like, I'm not getting in the wall. I'm dying. I'm losing the game more the more I do this. But he just keeps doing it, you know. And like that's how he killed himself. He's just like, more Zerglings and just.
Unlimited Zerg.
Yeah, they had like one Banshee, you know. You're just dead, dude. Because he did that twice. I don't know if I like that he did that twice, because he didn't learn his lesson from last time, you know, with the Windu.
Well, I mean, that wasn't him. That was the other. Like, he doesn't retain his clone's memories.
Well,
But I guess
how
maybe
does
he
he have
does.
the art? You know, but he also has like the white. You know, I've been electrocuted and have this face now look to him.
There was a lot wrong with him there. Like, his fingers were missing. What's up with that? Like, electricity didn't do
decomposing.
that. Right. So why couldn't that screw with the rest of his skin?
So it just happens to be the exact same skin as the clone of him was.
I don't know. We're not told. How is he still alive after 40 years? Right.
The dark
he's
side
just been,
of the Force.
Right.
Do it.
I'm just doing.
Do it.
No. I don't know. Because he could be the original. He might be a clone. I don't know. Also, who are all the people on Exegol? Like, all the hooded people that we
Yeah,
don't
that's what I'm
see?
saying. I think they're
Are
the
they
ones
all
who were
clones?
handling the cloning. They could be. They look like they're super dead. You know, like they're like undead looking.
Right. And what about building all the Star Destroyers? Who did that? 'Cause there's a lot
That
of
one
Star
I don't
Destroyers
like.
there.
I didn't like how. That's one thing about these movies is sometimes I think that you can overgrand it. You know, it's like too much. So they had like the just 8 million Star Destroyers all of a sudden. It was intimidating and looked cool, but it was like, how did they build this? You know.
I think in, like, I've only seen it once, but at the very start where Kylo finds Palpatine, Palpatine says he conjured them, like he conjured them from Force with magic.
That's I don't like it. I don't like it at all.
No, neither do I.
But then afterward, then they get like, they show up and the entire galaxy is there. Like everybody who owns a spaceship is there to fight.
You mean the end game
Right.
final
the
battle?
end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was very end game. It was very. It's been done. It was just like. It was just kind of cheesy, I think, and cheesy is fine though, because Star Wars is cheesy.
Yeah,
it was
is,
just.
But there's cheesy, and we've seen this done better in other places recently.
Yeah, it's like I'm surprised they didn't start having like. I mean, they kind of did. They just didn't have that many characters that are alive. Like, I'm surprised like they didn't have like the Mandalorian show up. Like Mando.
I looked for his ship.
His ship was in there.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but I've heard that it's there.
But it's like, and it doesn't necessarily because it's his model ship
Yeah.
is there. Not,
Yeah,
not
yeah,
necessarily.
yeah.
See, but that's the difference between
Him.
the MCU and Star Wars. Is the MCU, everybody shows up and we know who they are, and it's awesome because we
Right.
have history with these characters. And in Star Wars, when they do it, hey, everyone's here. Who's that? Well, Lando, and
Yeah. We introduced these 5
everybody
characters
else.
earlier in the movie.
Yeah,
And Boba Freak being in the cockpit
Boba
with what's his
Freak.
face.
Dumb.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me
Kerry
wrong,
Russell.
I loved him.
Me too.
I did not.
He's adorable.
I like
and
Boba.
meaningless.
Boba. What? Yeah, totally.
Frick.
But I just he was good. That one thing J.J. Abrams really knows how to do is comic relief, or I guess whoever the writing was on it. Because C-3PO is that's all you need. Jar Jar was a mistake. Finn and Poe, overkill. I think in some of the ways that they're comic or you don't need that much comic relief. You have C-3PO and R2-D2 and they're perfect.
was a lot
Then
of
you add someone like
droids.
Boba Freak.
Yeah.
And yeah, that and then he's great because he's interacting with the droids. Because when C-3PO gets rebooted, and it's hello, I'm C-3PO, human cyborg relations, and then he's hello, I'm Boba Fett. That was hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that's funny. But then you have as we said earlier, oh, they fly now, they fly now, they fly now. Okay.
It is my biggest complaint from the movie is that it never did the work to make us care about anything that was happening. I think they
Didn't have
just
the time to.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it. They went from place to place to place to place. Hey, look, there's a spy. Hux is the spy. Here's a sentence about his motivation. Now he's dead. That is the entirety of the
Right.
Hux is a spy storyline. That's all we get. It's 34 seconds of content. And then we have, oh no, Rey blew up Chewie on that transport. And I was like, oh my gosh, Star Wars is going places. Nope. No. 3 minutes later, Chewie's totally fine. Just kidding. Sorry for making you think there was actually consequence to action in this movie.
That didn't get me. That didn't get me in the theater because I'm well, I've seen the trailer and Chewie flies with Lando, and that hasn't
that's
happened
why you
yet.
don't watch trailers, is because they ruin everything, Samacron. So,
But
I don't-
I agree. I love that because I was oh my god, this movie just got balls.
yeah,
and
and then they tossed it away like it was garbage. This doesn't know.
because I was legitimately, I wasn't thinking about the previews. I was just, I was pretty immersed in it my first watch. So I was my heart sank. I was
Yeah.
oh god.
I was like, Ray,
Like,
what did you
he's-
do?
Yeah, and I
she's
love that it was
freaking out.
Ray who did it. It was
Yeah.
super cool.
Yeah.
That storyline, if it was just really more focused on Ren and Ray, it would have been a better movie. But whenever they were fighting, and definitely in the trilogy, it was the best lightsaber duel. Was them on
Ray
the,
and
on the Death Star.
Kylo
That
lightsabering.
was great.
Yep.
But I didn't feel that fight at all.
No.
I wasn't oh, I bet she's gonna get killed. No, I was literally just waiting for someone to lose an arm.
There's
I was
there were not any scenes that had any emotional impact because they never took any time to set it up. They never gave time to breathe. They never had a 30-second conversation between two people. It was go, 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 go the whole time, and it was bad.
There's one scene that has emotional impact.
All right,
One.
go.
It's Chewie screaming and falling to his knees when he finds
that
out
was-
everyone in his family's dead.
Okay.
That's
Yeah,
literally
that was-
And here's the
that
thing:
was-
the only reason it has emotional impact is because there were 5 other movies that set it up.
Exactly. Nothing in this movie set it up at all. That was him pulling on everything we knew and everything we felt from the previous films to get something here. It's cheap. It's all cheap. There's no work done in this film. Also, how about this? Hey, here's the snowy planet we spent 10 minutes on. We know exactly 2 characters who live here. And oh no, one of the Death Star ships blew it up. Crap, those 2 people we cared about are dead. Don't you feel bad about them? Oh, just kidding. Nope, they're totally fine. And for some reason, here at this final battle, even though we specifically learned from Carrie Russell person, she didn't have a way off the planet because she gave it to the heroes. But you know what? They're here.
magic
she
They're
didn't have a way
fine.
into the. She didn't
didn't
have
have
a
a
way into
way-
the colonies.
Right. She didn't have a way past the blockade. She had a ship.
Yeah, she could get out. Now, and she could totally leave that planet. She couldn't she couldn't go to the colonies. That's what they're saying is going, because to get to the colonies you have to go through the Empire, or through the First Order, something along those lines.
Right. She had her own ship, but the coin, the magic doohickey
Yeah.
that she hands to Finn,
The captain's
Poe.
captain's coin, yeah.
Right. The incredible security breach.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
She gives that away, but not her ship.
Yeah, no, I know. Fine. But anyway, look, the point is, they showed us a planet where it got blown up, and we knew people who were there, but just kidding, they're not actually there, and they're not dead, and they're fine.
Right.
Surprise.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, I thought that was lame because it was
Why do we care?
they can't even kill a planet
No.
and actually kill a character off.
No.
Right.
I mean,
The entire planet exploded.
yes.
the entire planet exploded, and no one who's force sensitive went, "Huh, I felt that."
Yeah, nobody.
But Finn,
we didn't.
who's just a dude, is like, "Raise on that ship," you know.
Yes. Well, it's
like,
that's it.
he has a feeling.
There is no time. The scene in A New Hope when Alderaan gets blown up and Obi-Wan's like, "Oh, I just felt something," and they spend some time on that. That's not a passing like, "Oh, that was weird. Let's do something else now." They spent a good 2, 3, 4 minutes on the Millennium Falcon with Obi-Wan talking about what just happened, and Luke's concerned about it, and it actually has impact. Here, we don't get anything like that. It is just go, 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 go.
I really wish the movie was about 45 minutes longer, so they could have paused and like let things sink in and have, because a beautiful part of cinematography is silence sometimes.
Yes, there's
just
no silence.
Let a moment sit. Like after they thought Chewie died, that should have been like, there should have been major grieving going on.
Could have been. Should have been.
Could have been.
And it was more just all like,
my powers. I don't have control. Nobody knows me.
Well, okay, then.
You know, his
go ahead.
Rey uses Force lightning, right?
Yes.
Which, it's like, okay, she's a Palpatine, she has his powers, sure. But I thought, like, there were good powers and dark powers, but she just has a random smattering of both because she's a Palpatine. I thought...
So Force lightning, I mean, like, that's not that is a dark side of the Force thing, like, because Doku or Count Dooku did it, Yoda did it, like Yoda knows how to do it.
Yoda doesn't know how to do Force lightning. He could capture and like send it back, but he couldn't produce it.
I'm sure he could.
You reckon?
Okay, but here's the problem.
Yeah, because it's just
there is no canon with the Force. Any discussion about what the Force can and cannot do is useless and futile because no one has ever sat down and written this down anywhere. There are no limits.
Well,
the Force can do whatever they need it to do.
Yeah.
Force healing,
That's true.
whatever we need it to do.
Right.
Well, Force healing has been a thing for a while.
Force
It's just, like,
teleportation?
outside of Saga.
Okay, but Force teleportation, whatever we need it to do, it does this now. Deal with it, nerds.
Man, remember whenever they used Force speed once?
Yeah. And Phantom Menace
and
to get away from the
and
droids.
they're like acted like it was an important thing, and then literally nobody ever did it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Bingo.
Right. Right, but here's the thing. Rey never uses Force lightning ever again either. Right?
Because she doesn't want, because that's her losing control of her power. That was pure unbridled power just coming out and her just flexing and being consumed by it. I thought that was one of the best parts of the movie.
Then they ruined
You thought
it.
that was terrible?
Yeah, I thought that was terrible. Like, from up until, like, this trilogy, I always thought that you needed to be dedicated in one, like, the light or the dark side of the Force to have access to certain powers, right? Dark side, you get Force lightning and the ability to choke people out really easily, or you go light side and you get to do cool Jedi mind tricks, right? Like, but she's just like, well, I'm desperate because I really don't want Chewie to leave, even though later she can sense Chewie's on her ship and alive, but couldn't sense him on that one.
Well, but
right?
that's not the whole point. Was she wasn't like, I don't want Chewie to leave at that moment. At that moment, she was kind of throwing a tissy fit because it was a power versus power struggle. She was arm wrestling essentially, and she lost control of herself and then pulled into something that she didn't understand, and it just so happened to be Force lightning. Because she was just like using the Force because she's completely untrained. Like Leia trained her, and Leia. Yeah, Leia. Sorry, I have a sister-in-law named Leia. So Leia trained her, and I mean, like, yeah, I know. But Leia can use the Force in the movies the same way that Finn can, right? Because it's like hinted at.
No, she got
It's
training,
hinted at.
dude. She got training
she did
from
get training.
Luke Skywalker himself, which is, again, introduced in this film, given 45 seconds to, and never talked about again. Because that's what this movie is.
Because they copped it out. Because in Return of the Jedi, they said, yeah, she has the Force in her. She can. She's Force sensitive.
She builds a lightsaber. She's way more than Finn. You can't build a lightsaber if you're not a Jedi.
Up until this movie, that's where, like, we're just kind of told, hey, she can do it too. And now it's like, no. So yeah, then they go back and they're like, well, we have to have somebody train her. You know, Rey needs to get trained by somebody. So they're like, okay, what about Leia?
Yeah.
But I'm sure people were like, "What about Leia?"
And then we got
What?
37 seconds and called it a day. There are 800 ideas in here. JJ showed up to the Star Wars people and was like, I have this script. And they said, it can't be 5 hours, JJ. And he said,
Yeah.
watch me. And he crammed everything he could into here. It's insane.
Yeah.
I can't
But by the way, I
get my
do
head
think that
around it.
Finn is force sensitive. That's what he was going to tell Leia.
Yeah.
Or not Leia. That's what he was
No.
going to tell Rey.
Wait. When you're about to
Wait,
die,
when they're sinking?
we're gonna die.
wasn't-
I'm force sensitive. Oh, that's good. Thanks for telling me. That's great. We're all dead. So what?
No.
Bam.
That was clearly supposed to be the love plot.
Yes.
Like, Ray, I never told you I loved you.
Which they
I don't
ignore.
think so.
Oh yeah. Dude, you think they're all dying and his big thing he needs to confess is I'm force sensitive? Why?
I think
Why
so,
on
yeah.
earth? So what? What does it matter? You know what people do confess when they're dying? Love. They confess love all the time.
I've read theories on both, and I forgot. I wish I could have it, but there's somebody who I spoke to who was just like that. No, like, and they explained why, and it was a very convincing story. Let me try to find it.
But why it's force sensitive? Like,
Yeah, no, he's force
One
sensitive.
sec.
I buy that.
eh.
Okay,
All right.
y'all keep going. I'm gonna find this.
Okay. I mean, just to like take it back 50 minutes. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think for like popcorn and drinks, it was fine. Right? But I think The Last Jedi is a more easily fixable movie. Because if you start in this one to take apart the MacGuffins of like the Wayfinders and the coin and the dagger and the massive chunks of Death Star that somehow exploded, like survived atomization that we see in Return of the Jedi, you end up with nothing, right? Like there isn't a cohesive thing to have, but there is at least that in The Last Jedi. I think it's far easier to fix that film than this one. But this one's more enjoyable to watch. I don't know how that works.
Well, if you fix the first film, this film would be completely different.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes, it's true. Well, actually, no. I have a way to fix The Last Jedi, but still keep all the like ending elements in place.
All right, go.
I think I've explained it to you before, but basically, instead of like tracking through hyperspeed, you just have a spy, and then because Poe got like half the rebel fleet or bombers or whatever destroyed. That's why Holdo thinks it's him and won't tell him the story. Right? Won't tell him like the plan. And then because it's not tracking through hyperspace, you don't have to go to Canto Bight or any of the Rostico stuff. And then you just carry on the movie. Right? With them trying to find the spy, and you have like a cat and mouse hunt through the ship instead.
Yeah, it's better. There's a lot of things you can do to fix Last Jedi, but I don't know. I think if you come to the video or come to Rise of Skywalker with the intent of I'm gonna see things that are cool, and I'm gonna see things that I like and I'm impressed by and I recognize from my childhood, and don't think about it too much, then it's enjoyable. It's a popcorn movie in that way. I've got this list of things here that like are trying to appeal to the person who was a kid in the late 70s and 80s. Like, the Emperor's back. Huge. The Emperor was the big bad guy when you were a kid. The Emperor is awesome. Chewie gets a medal. He didn't get one in New Hope. That probably bothered you. Luke raises his X-Wing from the water, just like he tries to do and fails to do on Dagobah, but he can do it now because he's a full Jedi. Isn't that awesome? Rey's watching the Double Suns on Tatooine, just like Rey did, or just like Luke did at the start of A New Hope. Lando shows up for no reason. Where does he come from? Why is he on that planet? What is happening? It doesn't matter, but Lando's in this movie now. There's so much of this.
Okay, so I had a question. Going back 3 points ago, I think. What was it? Read out some of those points again. Like there was something
back,
I
Chewie
wanted
gets
to.
a medal. Luke raises his X-wing from the water. Rey watches the Double Suns.
Okay,
on Tatooine.
that's it.
Okay.
That's it.
Okay.
At the end of The Last Jedi, does Rey know that Luke died? Like, I forget where she was, because she was in the Falcon flying to pick up what's left of the rebels, apparently, but turns out they've got a whole base on the forest
She
planet.
doesn't unless she was force sensitive about it.
Right. So maybe. But then, because when she, chucks a hissy fit and then goes to, Archtoa or whatever it's called.
to
where
the
the
island.
first
Another storyline that is super short. Go ahead.
Right. But I was thinking, if like it didn't hit me till because these movies came out like 2 years apart, that she might not have known that Luke was dead. And she was just like, I'm going back to my Jedi. And then I was like, but at the start of the movie, she was like hanging out with Leia.
Yeah.
She would have like Leia knows he's dead. But like imagine if she gets there and finds that Luke's dead and didn't know her. Right?
That would have
How
been
cool of a
good.
twist that would have been.
But we didn't
And
have
then,
time.
look-
We didn't have time. We had 1 minute and 47 seconds to devote to that part of the story, and then we had to move on.
Yeah, it's true.
She shows up. She's burning her TIE fighter. Luke's like, hey, I have all the answers to your problems. Let me give you some transport. And she is out of there so fast. It's bananas how fast this movie moves. I can't get away from how fast it is and how nothing matters. Nothing matters.
Guys,
You don't have enough time.
apparently-
But just real quick, you don't have enough time to be like, oh no, Rey is exiling herself. That's so sad. Well, how does she feel about this? What drove her to do this? What are her future plans? No, we don't have any time for that. She's back in the action instantly. Why have it at all? Oh, I know, because we needed Luke in this movie for some reason and some fan service to show him raising an X-Wing from the water so people will go, yay, look, Luke's raising an X-Wing just like I wanted him to. That's all this is. They just read the forums and read Reddit and Twitter and said, this is what people want. Let's force feed it to them for 2 hours and call it good. Okay, I'm done. You may now go.
So anyway, Finn, the actor, John Boyega,
Yeah,
he
I
said
like him.
no, Finn wasn't going to say I love you before sinking, and some other girl who went to like the Q&A after the initial release or whatever spoke to J.J. Abrams, and he confirmed that Finn wanted to tell Rey that he was force sensitive.
Okay, but that's dumb. That's all.
Yeah, well, I'm not saying it was cool. I'm just saying that's what it was.
But they didn't have time for it.
And so in the thread here, people are saying it's like, yeah, but that's stupid. Like, why did they leave it open ended? And it's everyone's like, well, it probably just got cut out of the movie, you know.
This used to be 4 hours. They had to cut it down.
Wait.
Yeah.
Something actually got cut out of the movie?
Seriously. Oh my gosh. I don't like the final scene in the throne room because it's such a rehash of Return of the Jedi. It's like our hero Jedi shows up, strike me down, and I'll be more powerful than you can imagine, blah, blah, blah. And then the Darth Vader figure shows up, and he gets defeated a little bit, but he comes back, and they defeat the Emperor, and everybody wins. Like, and then the Darth Vader character dies. Amazing.
True.
Note for note, exactly what happens in Return of the Jedi. We even get Ewoks celebrating at the end of this film because it is so much like Return of the Jedi.
And it goes planet to planet to planet.
Yeah.
So and also he even like opens the roof up so she can see like the star battle happening, just like you just said. It's like when he opens the thing up for
like
Luke.
Return of the Jedi.
You also have a counter like B-side ground war going on instead of the Forest Moon of Endor.
Yep.
With the primitives, you now have the rebels or whatever fighting with horses,
horses.
because you have to
That
to have
was
some type-
so stupid. And I like how the exposition to why they needed a ground force is because they said that they just couldn't, like, they're like, no, but our much higher grade artillery on our airplane or in our spacecraft that are literally meant for dogfighting and shooting down airplanes and bombers and shit that we have in this fleet, those are not able to shoot that satellite.
Correct.
So we need you to get
We need horses.
yeah. So right after he shoots that thing down, Poe flies by it right next to it.
he goes to
You
pick
know,
it up.
and it's like, oh man, if only we had the best pilot in outer space, period. Here to kill this thing, right? No, but Finn needs to be in this movie too. So
It's because
go ahead and put him on
It's
there.
because they're working backward. This would be cool. How do we make it happen? It'd be cool. People riding horses on top of a Star Destroyer. How do we make that happen? I don't know. Just do it. Figure it out. Make it story relevant instead of going the other way around. It's bad.
So-
it's dumb. There's so much dumb in this movie.
You know what they also did, just like Return of the Jedi. So Boba Fett was like literally only cool because he had a cool outfit, and that's everything else he did was stupid.
That is correct.
So
Yeah.
Knights of Ren,
Same thing.
Like, just
Yes.
stood around looking cool. Then it's like, oh, when it came time to fight, it's like insta died.
That was-
also, they were all Jedi trained by Luke also. And then Kylo continued their training. And not a single one of them has, like, any sort of a lightsaber. You know, like...
And they all die like little bitches as soon as he gets a lightsaber. It's not even close.
Because they don't have lightsabers.
It takes him 32 seconds to beat all of them. It's nuts.
32 seconds. It's one of the longest scenes in the movie, though.
Now, it was like a cool fight sequence before he had the lightsaber. I think it would have been a lot cooler if he killed him without it.
Agreed.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
I think that would have been a really badass if they just made him just be like a badass and use their own weapons against them and stuff, and just like even if it took him out that quick, but like without the lightsaber, that would have been way cooler. And then when we got the lightsaber, it was like oh, now you're just overpowered.
Do you know what would have been way cooler? Giving them something to do in the movie.
Yes.
Right?
Besides capture Chewie, but just oversee.
They
Chewie
don't
get
even capture him. Stormtroopers do it.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
like,
watch.
See, but that's the whole thing.
They watch.
They're like, hey, the Knights of Ren were pretty awesome. We introduced them in the first movie. They did nothing. They didn't exist in the second movie. Let's bring them back for some reason and have them accomplish nothing. Why? Why?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Like, honestly,
And-
Kylo Ren
yeah.
walks into the throne room without having to fight the Knights of Ren. It changes nothing. It changes nothing in the film.
Right.
I mean, here's the thing. It should have changed something.
Yeah.
Right? I think if
Yes.
you go... Like, again, I think if you go back to, like, the snow planet that got destroyed, and there's, like, an Imperial occupation going on, and, like, they're all doing this search for the scavenger or whatever the code name they gave Rey. Have the Knights of Ren be, like, ruthless at tearing people down, and, like, even to, like, you know, Kylo, who's kind of having, like, these, like, pulls to the light side, right? He's trying to fight the urge to go good, and then he gets to the throne room, and he's like, oh, these are my knights. He can tell them to stand down, and he's like, oh, no, these are ruthless killers that I've trained, that have turned their backs on me, like, and he's forced to kill, like, essentially his Padawans.
That would be
That
better.
would've been cool.
That would be better if he was like, hey guys, what's up? And they're like, no. But instead, it's antagonistic from the start. There's nothing to it. There's nothing to that at all. It's a boring fight scene that doesn't mean anything. Well, and then Kylo as a whole. Okay, so Kylo Ren murders everybody in an entire solar system. Like, he's worse than Darth Vader in a lot of ways. He turns because his mom says Ben through the Force, and he gets stabbed in the chest by Rey. Is that what made him good?
I mean, in essence,
And
yes.
Ray then saving his life afterward, I think really
Right.
showed him that and because so what wasn't shown, what was implied is that she pretty much put herself in him, like Leia did. She was
Right.
all of her existence was in him, and that's why. So she hadn't fully died yet. That's why her body didn't disappear until his did, because she was living in him. So she was able to inspire good. She was able to like spark the memory of his father, and to where he's not hiding from his father because he killed him, and it's because he could never go home because like he he like took it too far. I honestly that part of the movie I kind of liked. I just liked his character development was so much better than everybody else's.
But it's so abrupt.
That struggle.
It's so abrupt.
It was abrupt.
Right. It was abrupt.
But I mean, but kind of, because that's the entire arc of the entire trilogy was him fighting with wanting to have a family, and
Wanting power.
yeah, and then being corrupted by the dark side, and like that was a constant turmoil for him.
I think what they were going for, I came out of the movie thinking this, but Luke refused to give up on Vader and his dad saying that he can come back to the light. Leia reaching out one last time was the same thing, but to her son. And after he got stabbed by Rey, he realized that if he continues on this path, he will die again, but permanently, and there will be no Force ghosting for him. It's like a wake-up call for him that his parents will forgive him if he just lets go.
Okay, but like switching to the good side because you want to be a Force ghost in the afterlife is not a good reason to switch to the good side. That's really bad.
Yeah.
It's like I'm afraid of
I'm
the
sure
afterlife. What?
No, well, no, it's not. Like, he still wants to be a good person. He wants to switch to the good side. He just doesn't think anyone will forgive him for killing billions of people and his dad.
And he's absolutely correct about that. But
except for Leia. Leia forgives him, and Rey forgives him, and well, those are the only two people he interacts with other than Palpatine. So
fair, very fair. I don't know, man. Like, he's a dude, and why didn't Leia do this force projecting thing? I don't know, 20 years ago. Like, at what point does she decide now is the time to force project myself into my son and save him? Can't figure it out. It's zippy, and then he's just all good at the end. He's wearing like an American Eagle outfit for some reason. I don't even know where he got those clothes. It's just abrupt. Everything's abrupt. That's all it is. I can't take anything seriously because it doesn't ever stop to breathe at all. That's where I end on this.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it was just too rushed. It was the potential of a great movie, and it was just rushed to where we got a pretty good movie in my opinion. But like,
okay movie.
Yeah, it was pretty okay. It was better than bad. That's for sure. It's above the 5 on the out of 10 rating.
The technical skill in the production of the movie is still great, right? Like, I think Adam Driver's performance basically outshined everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did a really good job for what he had to work with, but you can't carry a film by yourself.
Nope. Can't do. That's the thing. I don't have a problem with any of the casting. I like everybody. It's fine. I don't have complaints about anybody's acting whatsoever. I have no complaints about that at all. It's all writing. It's speed at which things happen. It's trying to get cheap emotional reactions from people when he didn't earn it. It's just a lot. So I don't know. I mean, I like to judge movies based on if I'm ever going to watch it again. And I'm never going to watch this again. There's never going to be a time where I'm like, I'm going to revisit this experience I had back in 2019. I don't think it's ever going to happen.
Do you think, is this better or worse than Game of Thrones?
Oh
wrap
my
up?
gosh. So, from that measurement, I'm never watching Season 8 of Game of Thrones either. So,
But are you ever going to sit down and be like, man, I feel like watching seasons 1 through 7, or 1 through 6, whatever the second to last one was?
Well, yeah, 1 through 6 counts.
so basically, it starts getting bad in 6, and 7 and 8 are not good, and then 8 is really bad. But I could see myself totally going back and sitting down and watching Season 3 again. Absolutely.
Right, but I mean, I'm gonna watch the original trilogy of Star Wars again. You know.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because they're good. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to watch Revenge of the Sith again probably because I think that's a good film. I'm never going to watch Attack of the Clones. I'm never going to watch Force Awakens or Phantom Menace. Yeah.
So have you seen? So you know the before the new trilogy came out, they had the machete order.
Yeah.
For watching Star Wars.
Yep, I'm aware.
And so what they in the genuine machete order, there's actually fan made edits where they pretty much wrap up, where they combine all the prequels into one movie. And it's such better watching because it has like a couple, like it is about 15 minutes from a Phantom Menace because that's all that matters.
Right.
The entire movie is a waste of time.
Hey, there's a kid and there's Qui-Gon. Qui-Gon got stabbed at the end.
Obi-Wan has to train him. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, it just pretty much it's like, this is pod racing when it is not pod racing.
Are you an angel?
Oh, my bones are aching, honey. There's a storm coming.
All right, hang on. I need
man.
to yell at my kids. I'll be right back. Give me 30 seconds. I'm gonna keep
I
recording.
need to go yell at my kids.
How very Vader of him. He has to
Oh, yeah.
yell at his kids. Yeah.
Saw some fan art of what Dark Side Yoda would look like.
Yeah, I've seen that before. It's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
But who knows? Like, they really need to give like his species a name so we can stop calling the thing in the Mandalorian Baby Yoda.
Yep. And what I think it's sexist though, because why isn't it Baby Yaddle?
Yaddle? What?
Oh my god! By the way, so that picture I just saw, the caption. This is somebody, a friend of mine on Facebook posted who like isn't really into nerd culture kind of thing, and he posted it, and I don't think he even knows what it is. It's just looks like a sick ass league champion mid laner for sure.
Okay.
What? No, it looks like Dark Side Yoda, you idiots.
Yeah. It looks like
Oh,
Dark Side
man.
Yoda.
God, that hurts my feelings. Anyway,
I will-
Yaddle. Yeah. Yaddle was in the prequels. She prequels. Yaddle. I'm sorry, not Yaddle. Yaddle here. She was of the same race as Yoda.
Huh.
So she was in the council, the Jedi Council.
I've no memory of this woman.
Yeah, she was in Clone Wars.
That's why I have no memory of her. Species. Yoda's species is what the Wikipedia list says.
Small, green, wrinkly, with pointy ears. Yeah, they don't know anything about this species, and this is the Wikipedia. Like this is Star Wars Wiki.
Yep. She had a power somehow that they know called Moricho, an ancient art that enabled the user to slow the opponent's bodily functions to the point of death. Right? That's like, I just force killed you. Like, I stopped your heart.
Oh my god.
That's a light side force ability.
Are you looking at the same picture as I am? Can we just look at, like, getting a clip of her actually from the film?
Yeah. Yeah, where it's her, like, looking to the left.
Yeah, just like...
Yeah. Yeah. There's a reason no one mistakes that for Yoda. Like, I don't know. It looks like
nobody thinks it's
gremlin
Yoda, but,
or
like, it's obviously the same species. But
she has more hair than Yoda did, I think.
well, I mean, maybe that's a
Yoda
female
was-
thing, or maybe she's only like 300 years old.
Maybe. Good point.
She's a youngin, little whippersnapper. Yaddle. I thought it was Yaggle. Yaggle's a better name than Yaddle.
Yeah,
I think it's Yaddle.
definitely.
I
Yaddle.
don't think it's Yaddle.
Yaddle-ee-hoo.
Oh my god, do you know what else? Do you know who I miss? And somebody was talking about this. Do you remember the Q-tip Jedi?
No.
Oh, what?
Oh, the one who talks about the Wookiees on Kashyyyk?
Maybe.
He's got the big white hair. He's kind of old and thin.
No. Look at the Discord picture.
this race has the name.
Ah.
Yariel Poof was a male Quirmian.
Yeah.
Quirmian Jedi Master. So this Q-tip race has an established name. We know what that race's name is. But the most iconic character in Star Wars is literally called Yoda's race.
It's not, though.
No, that's what it is in the fandom Wikipedia.
Wow, that's the thing.
Yoda's
Yoda's race.
species. Look, this has its own thing. Yoda's species.
I'm just saying they haven't established it. There's a name for it. They're holding it out, though. They'll tell us in, like, season 2 of The Mandalorian or something.
Sure.
Because for now, they were...
Oh, they pulled that from...
They were...
This is from Star Wars Card Trader. It's an app. That's where they got... This is like the most description you get of his race.
Really?
I'm just saying, they're holding out. They call the Baby Yoda the child in all the official merchandise, so they're intentionally keeping it from us. They'll come out with it, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nope. I don't think they will. I think they'll continue to hold it on us.
Well, okay. Anyway,
Took them 40 years. They still haven't done it.
it's a good point, actually. Decent chance they never actually come back to it.
That is an excellent point. Why does the Mandalorian not just carbon freeze the baby?
Yeah, because it's like, just keep it safe. You know, he doesn't need to feed it or change his diapers or anything. Just freeze it.
Han was not in good shape when he got unfrozen. He was effectively blind for a while. Not a nice
Yeah,
thing
but
to
Han
do.
was-
wasn't. Han was less than 50 years old. You know,
Yes. What's your point here exactly?
he was a 25-year-old. You know, he probably drank too much. You know, he was always hanging out like in those bars with the elephants that played trumpet out of their elephant trunk.
Those guys. They probably have a name too, actually.
God.
They probably do.
Probably.
Have you guys seen the robot chicken Star Wars stuff?
Yes. It's good.
Not in a long time.
Like this guy, the blue elephant guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, their Star Wars stuff is all really good. I like Robot Chicken a lot.
They do okay.
There.
Who have an average memory? These songs are so good.
So anyway, grand scheme of things, I'm never going back to Rise of Skywalker. There's nothing about it I want to revisit, so it didn't make that list. But I don't know. I don't know. The Last Jedi I was annoyed with, but I came out of Rise of Skywalker kind of hating it. So that's not a good sign. So I think I like this less than Last Jedi.
Do you think there'll be another trilogy after this?
Oh, for sure. It's printing money. They'll do it.
Yeah, but I don't think it'll be offshoot, and it won't be considered saga.
Well, they just hired Feige for this stuff, though. If they got Kevin Feige for it, and they're making him do Star Wars things, I imagine they'll try something like MCU for Star Wars.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
they're gonna tie in, like, the Mandalorian's gonna meet like Finn when he was a stormtrooper or something, you know, like, and they're gonna have that in a movie or something along those lines. Like, something weird's gonna happen.
Maybe. Depends on how long the Mandalorian lives for. So he's still got
Yeah.
like 30 years before. Well, not 30 years before he's born, but maybe like 15 before he's born.
Yeah,
He does lead.
It's true.
He leads a dangerous life. So
Yeah, but he's got all that Beskar. He'll be fine.
he does get shot a lot, and he is fine. So that's a good point. Yeah, the season finale should be interesting.
Comes out like
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
so that's a lot of people have complaints about that show, the fact that it's like it pretty much doesn't have plot. I don't care if it has plot or not. It's a great show. I really like it.
It's very good.
That's fine.
I have no complaints because it's a show. You know, it's not like it's not a movie that is like hard canon saga. You know, it's just like, hey, this is just a show in the world. Bill Burr, probably not the best idea, but I thought he did okay. I love it's like, oh cool, and what planet are you from? And he's like, fucking Boston. You know.
Effectively, yes.
I really enjoyed that episode, though. That's a fantastic episode.
That was a great episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
They had like pretty much all the characters from Jabba Hutt squad there, like, well, at least the same races that were all represented there. That was pretty cool. That one like devil looking guy who was in, I forget which movie he was in. He was just like,
Oh, yeah.
and one of the bar, like when the
Right.
robots
The
getting tortured
D&D
or something.
Group, yeah.
Also, what's up in Return of the Jedi? How are they torturing robots?
Because they programmed
You know?
emotions and pain receptors into robots for reasons unknown.
Because robots, droids in Star Wars are semi-sentient. Like, who knows what's going on?
Taking one last look at my friends. That was good.
Well,
that was
no,
a good
that was
part
terrible.
of the movie.
That was terrible. All his
I
friends
loved
hated
that
him.
part.
All
they
the
did
people
was
that standing in
dump
that
on
room
him.
hate him.
All they did was dump on him the whole time, and he's like, "They're my
I
best
like
friends."
that part.
Okay, but
Right.
But
If C3PO had been looking at Chewie, Han, and Luke and Leia, I would buy
or
it.
even
I'd be like,
Rey.
yes.
Like Ray's nice to him at least.
Yeah, Rey's nice to everyone. Like,
That's
she
true.
meets a random lizard in a cave and heals it for some
That is-
reason.
But the
Very
whole
true.
point is that
She's
C-3PO he's so brilliant that he's extremely naive, you know?
No.
Like but I mean, a hell of a lot better than prequel C-3PO where he's all like, I'm quite beside myself. When he's like being dragged next to his body.
Okay, but the C-3PO storyline in Rise of Skywalker is another example of no consequences. Oh, I have to get my memory wiped to help them defeat the great evil. What a sacrifice I'm making. Just kidding. R2 totally had perfect backups ready for me back at the camp. I lost nothing. It's
I mean, at the same
dumb.
time, he better have. Like, if these are sentient robots and they have all this technology these droids are like do all.
I know.
They can do anything. He better have a backup of his memory somewhere.
Yeah, I know.
But also, why
But
couldn't they have like found I bet they could have found a loophole to that thing. It's like, okay, so you can't translate this language, but can you tell us where it is? Because you know where it is. You're not translating it. You just know where it is.
Right.
I
if he
thought
just
so,
has
too.
the
It's like, can you
information
just
already.
paraphrase in
Yeah.
your own
Yeah,
words.
it's like, okay, so how about you tell me, like, why don't you give me the coordinates around, like, we can triangulate around the middle, but you don't actually have to say where it is. You know, like, why don't you give me the coordinates to, like, the next
Right.
the next
Give us-
closest star system, then the next closest star system in the other direction. You know, and like
Right.
keep doing that to where you're like, okay, now is it here? And he can be like, yes. You know?
But that's the whole thing, is Exegol isn't on the charts. Like, you have to go through some weird twisty-wisty nebula thing to make it even to this planet. You can't just be like, I'm coming at it,
Yeah.
I'm going to hyperspace here, bam. You have to, like, go through some crazy whirlpool, like in Solo.
Right, well, you have to do that if you're a main character. You don't have to do that if you're the rest of the galaxy.
Who says they didn't have to
Right,
go through
right.
the twisty-wisty stuff,
But like all of them did that at the same time.
Yes.
At the
Yeah,
exact
they show
same
up as,
time.
like, a block. Ray in the X-wing made it look like a tough maneuvering
it did.
situation where it's like, oh, better be careful. Like, it might take the clips
And
off,
then-
like the
then
wings off.
Boba Freak
and then
comes
it's like,
in and he's all like,
this-
Boba.
you know,
Yay! He's the best. I love him so much.
like not strapped
He's
in
terrible.
to the chair at all because for some reason gravity affects people in spacecraft in these movies, you know. And so he's just not strapped in, and he just comes out like, well, Boba. But what's his actual name? Because I'm saying it wrong. Is it Babu?
Boba Frick.
Boba
Frick,
Freak.
not Freak.
Babu.
It's Frick.
The tiny little thing to eat.
Tiny.
Oh yeah,
Chicken.
Boba Frick. So
Yep. He should have been eaten by something. He's too small. Like, I don't care where you're living. Do they have rats there? The rats probably ate him when he was a baby. Like, there's no way.
Yeah, swamp rats.
That's all. He's adorable, but he's too tiny.
why is his name also Boba?
It's not. Is it spelled the same? I thought it was Bubba. Like
It's Boba.
B-U-B-A.
It's Boba.
Is it
B-O-B-A.
Boba Frick? They're brothers?
Wait, no,
Yeah, Boba Freak.
Bubo.
Told ya.
Frick.
Ah.
B-U-B-O. Bubo Frick.
Bubo Freak?
Told ya. Frick.
Buba Frick.
Frick.
But at the same time, you
Well,
know,
frickin'
this is one
heck.
thing that I like about Game of Thrones, and I like about Game of Thrones, and like Wheel of Time, and a lot of these fantasy series. They name people the same name every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because that, like, we're in a galaxy full of people. One Luke.
You don't
true.
know that. There
There-
could have been
there's-
like 80,000 stormtroopers named Luke. You just don't know.
Yeah, every single character. There are like 800 people's characters' names developed. Not a single one of them shares a name. That's weird.
Sure.
It's kind of
That
weird.
was pretty excited. Everyone was like, "How cool! They have a Boba." Nope, they have a
No.
Bubbo.
See? Bobo Frick. Called it.
I'm Bubbo Frick.
He was great. That's how you sell toys right there. He's going to be such a good Lego piece.
It's going to be adorable. You're going to lose him so fast, he'll be tiny.
Yeah.
To put him in scale to like an actual character is going to be impossible.
I haven't even bought him yet. I haven't even bought that Lego set yet, and I've already lost him.
But I mean, okay, but going to I lost it. Oh no, I had a point and then I got distracted by Legos. Whatever. I know. It was just another example of how nothing had any meaning. I was just making the same point again. It's fine. We can leave it. Yeah, that's pretty much all the points I have to say. I didn't enjoy it, not going back. Kind of hated my experience there. I thought the kiss between Rey and Kylo was weird. And again, unearned.
I think it was unnecessary, for sure.
Well, she is dead. And then she gets raised from the dead, and the first thing she wants to do is mac out with this guy. Seems like odd timing.
Knockout?
to me.
I've never heard.
It's Babu, B-A-B-U. I was
Babu.
wrong.
Babu Frick.
I was like looking at, literally there was merchandise that I was looking at, and it was like it calls it, yeah, there's literally, look. This one's they spell it wrong on this website.
Did you say?
Who do I believe? StarWars.com or JediBusiness.com?
Business. Well, here's the thing. In the headline, they call it Bubo Frick, but like the first sentence of the actual article, they call it Babu. So
Yeah.
That's because, like everything else in this film, he has 37 seconds of screen time and doesn't mean anything. There are the bones of a good movie here.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I was going to talk about Rose. So, of all the examples of things where they were obviously reading the Star Wars fan boards and just trying to placate the angry masses after The Last Jedi, it was the sidelining of Rose. They were like, we read 100 posts about people who hate Rose with a passion and want her to be dead. So we're just going to sideline her entirely in this film. She will do nothing and be nothing and have 3 lines. I hope that appeases the angry masses on the internet. Why? Why are you doing this?
It would not surprise me if she was like, "Look, you've got me contracted for another movie, but I want like a tiny role in this." Like because people like attacked her personally. I would
Yeah.
not be surprised if she was like, "Look, I'll fulfill my contract, but don't give me a role." Like, it wouldn't surprise me
Yeah.
if she opted for that herself.
Okay, I can see that. That is a reasonable explanation.
But at the same time, it's like, hey Finn, she saved your life there, buddy. Do you maybe want to give her more than like a pat on the shoulder?
Well, yeah, she also lip raped him, so I don't think they're friends.
I think he's over that.
Maybe he is. Maybe he's not.
Did you guys see there was some guy who, like, way before the trailers came out for this, predicted, it was actually before Last Jedi even came out, he predicted that Rey was a Palpatine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen that theory a bunch of times. Although
He was spot on.
yeah, he was spot
Right.
on, but one of the other, like, I don't know if it's the same guy, but I saw that the linchpin logic point of the argument that one of the people was making was, some of her, like, attacks with her staff look similar to how Palpatine moved when he was killing Jedi in Revenge of the
Because
Sith, and it's like,
lightsaber fighting style is genetic for some reason. What the
Right.
crap?
But,
hey man,
but
she's force
she,
powers.
they said, and they did the research, it was like, he's the only person who actually thrusted with the lightsaber, and she also thrusted, and that was like in all the movies and all the shows,
Yeah.
nobody else had that style, so it was just kind of like, maybe that's just where genetically, because of their bone structure, that's a comfortable thing to do. I don't know.
This is so stupid.
Yeah,
We're applying
right.
too much
So
logic
one thing,
to this.
okay, one thing I did like about the film that I just wanted to talk about, and this will probably be my last bit, is Rey was extremely inexperienced with the lightsaber. She was just like literally raw badass. That's the only reason why she was able to go toe to toe against Luke Skywalker trained, Jedi Master, Sith Lord guy. But whatever, he had a weird fighting style, right? So he would, he would hold his lightsaber backwards, and kind of like do that upward sweeping motion. As soon as he does that once, Rey immediately does it back the same thing to him. She adjusts her lightsaber because she's like, "Oh, is that how you use this thing?" And I thought that was kind of cool, like, because she's literally just that fast of a learner to where she just picks that kind of stuff up. But at the same time, she's that fast of a learner. Then how come whenever she's getting trained, she's like, "Oh, I can't do it," like it's not. I guess it's because like her life has to be on the line. She just works well under pressure or something. But
Well, I saw an argument
don't
that
know.
if you believe that Rey's a Mary Sue and that she has unearned abilities in everything that she ever tries and never fails because they're propping up this female character, then for her reaction to not being able to communicate with the past Jedi is realistic because she's never failed at anything before, so it's a new experience, and it probably feels really hard, harder than the average person who's actually dealt with setbacks. Anyway,
it's like the honor student thing, like people who are they've never had to be challenged their whole lives,
and then they get into college
all of a
and they get a
sudden-
B and they melt down. Yeah,
they're like, what?
yeah. What
What do you mean I actually have to do the homework?
Yeah,
So-
exactly.
Okay.
I have a question. Palpatine needed Rey so that he could, like, Sith possess her or whatever and continue on as the Empress.
Yes.
But why didn't he just use his, like, Rey's mother or father, whichever one he spawned, right? Like, the assassin he sends to find Rey clearly finds the parents.
Yeah.
Why would that not have worked with them?
I don't think they were force sensitive.
So it just skips a generation.
Or this time
It
did,
can.
maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, who knows how that works?
Okay.
So I do want to say that Rey's mom is played by the incredible Jodie Comer, who's a ridiculously talented actress that they gave 15 seconds of
She's
screen
so
time
good.
to and gave her 0
I
lines.
know.
What
Who
the
is this?
hell?
She.
Who is
Why?
this?
No,
Jodie?
she screams no.
Does she?
Have
Oh,
you
she
seen
gets
Killing
the line.
Eve?
We've talked about Killing Eve. I've seen it. That's basically what I'm
It
talking
is. It is so good.
She's
She
ridiculously good.
She's the whole show.
Yeah.
Gosh, she's so good.
Why the crap would they
Phenomenal
cast
actress.
someone who's so phenomenal for the tiniest part in the entire movie? I guess maybe
I
Dad
don't know.
has a smaller part.
Why would they cast Pedro Pascal if he never takes his helmet off?
I'm also angry about that. You know this.
I do know that, but it actually had a thought the other day, which is, what if he's just doing voiceovers and it's not him in the suit, and they
but
just hired
again,
him for his voice?
Impossible.
It doesn't sound like him either. It
does
does
sound
not
like
sound
him.
like Pedro Pascal.
It took. I had to be told it was him.
Yeah, I don't think it sounds like him.
I recognized his voice, but I wasn't like, oh, that's Pedro Pascal. You like this? But I mean, like, to be fair, he, after Game of Thrones, like, he doesn't really have a face anymore. Like, I mean, I get why
Narcos.
they'd have to
What are you
cover that
talking
up. I'm kidding. I know.
Yeah.
Yeah. What?
Because his face gets blown up. In
Oh,
Game of
right,
Thrones.
because he like pushes his eyes in or whatever. Yeah.
It
And then his face
collapses his skull.
explodes.
Yeah.
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 I've never like shied away from the TV in my entire life more than that moment. Like that was
Okay.
I was
there
like
there are
hiding
three
behind
things.
my couch.
Yeah. So that one, like, okay, 3 most disturbing things I've seen. I think that's up there. Like the things that just stuck with me, and like I
Yeah.
couldn't sleep that night
Yeah.
because it's just replaying in my mind.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that show Gunpowder?
Nope.
No.
It has Kirk whatever from Game of Thrones. He plays. It's like about the God, what is it called? Guy Fawkes story.
Yeah.
And so, like, really early in the first episode, like, a lady gets, like, crushed to death because they're, like, torturing her, publicly. It was just, like, that era. And then, like, it shows a guy who, like, this kid looks like he's, like, 16-year-old kid gets, like, drawn and quartered. And it's just graphic, and it's just, it just kind of, it doesn't come out of nowhere because it's like, they're obviously torturing. But I didn't know, like, what extent they were going to go. I had to turn the TV off. I was like, it was horrible. And then also Walking Dead. I don't know if you guys
I've seen a bit of
watched that show.
I've seen a bit.
A guy gets his, like, one of the main characters gets, like, beat up with a baseball bat, and, like, he gets hit in the head so hard his eye kind of pops out a little bit.
Ooh.
It's just like, yeah, it's a rough watch. Like, it's one of those things where I had to like stand up and leave the room. Like, oh my god,
I've never had
God,
that feeling.
some like they can take things too far. It's like it's like you're ruining my life. Please don't show this to me. Ugh.
Incredible.
Anyway, nice happy Star Wars film. Now I'm talking about the most gruesome things I've ever seen on television. But
Yeah. Full circle.
Anyway.
Pascal's fault.
yeah, Yaddle's pretty good, right?
It's my favorite member of Yoda's species.
Yeah,
A
Yaddle.
mysterious species that doesn't have a name. I don't know. I mean, it wasn't garbage. There's things that I enjoyed from the film. I mean, I thought that the lightsaber fight at the ruins of the Death Star, which shouldn't exist, was really visually stunning. It was fine. It was fun. It's one of the better lightsaber battles in the entire Star Wars universe. But other just fleeting moments of stuff that I liked, but everything else, I was just shaking my head and rolling my eyes, and just I couldn't believe what I was experiencing. So. Good times at the theater. Anyway, on that note, anything else we want to say before we wrap up?
1 sec. I have a rebuttal for you.
Ooh, okay.
Oh man, it's not playing the GIF.
No, I know where this is going.
I'm sorry. You thought the other thing was the best lightsaber fight in the series? What about Revenge of the Sith?
Where they windmill around each other? Yeah, no.
And don't touch each other at all.
Overall, that whole fight is really good, though. That final Obi-Wan Anakin fight at the end of Revenge of the Sith is really good.
Steven Spielberg directed it.
That explains a lot.
I mean,
That's
it's
all he did in the movie. They brought him in literally just for that fight.
really.
Yeah.
That's
I can see
interesting.
Which is actually like the last quarter of the movie, but I mean, which is awesome. And that's one thing the prequels really did, though, is they put the action sequences were great. Some of them were like ridiculous, but I mean, like there was some good choreography. The problem with the prequels is that they jumped the gun on the CGI too early. They were like, this is incredible. Look how realistic this is. But I remember even in the theaters, I was like, wow, that looks really CGI. Like it was just actually, because it wasn't poorly done. It was probably the most impressive CGI I've ever seen. But I was like, yeah, but I can still tell this is made by a computer.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, bring back the puppets.
Yeah. Baby
Well,
Yoda is a puppet. So.
Yeah, he's a puppet. He's adorable. But the lightsaber fight with
Sure, it's a
Qui-Gon
hate.
and Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul is really good.
Amazing.
Phantom Menace.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah.
Yeah, and the music, got the
music's
score.
60% of it. Yes.
Yeah.
The bartender with like the eyepiece is the original composer for Star Wars.
Is John Williams?
Yeah, he's like the bartender in
Oh, yeah,
one of
yeah.
the bars in the
Yeah.
movie.
Isn't he like 90?
Yeah, he's making a drink.
Yep.
Huh.
He literally just grimaces and that's it. It's like all he does is like look up and like scowl.
Yeah, his name in the movie is also like an anagram of the word maestro. Right. It is. I forget
okay.
what it is, but
We're
yeah.
tricky. Yeah.
Also, Rise of Skywalker, kind of forgettable musically.
Yeah, I can't think of a musical moment, unfortunately.
The only music that really like rings true in like I'd say that the entire sequel trilogy is like Ray's theme, which I really
Right.
enjoy. Yeah.
Consistently pretty good. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. Has anyone got anything else to say? Closing thoughts? Hope for the future? Gifts for the future?
No. Just this. Which people can't hear on the podcast, so
No, visual gags on an audio podcast. Fantastic.
Put them in the show notes. That'll be great.
They will be in the show notes.
I like
just
adding-
like no context. This one.
Sure, no context.
All right.
All right, good stuff.
No, I
That's it. You're good. I'm good. Somicron's good.
yeah.
Yep.
All right.
In 5 minutes, I'm gonna remember like 8 things I wanted to talk about, but
Just open Audacity back up, record it, send it to us. I'll snip it on at the end. No one will notice.
Yeah.
yeah, and I'll just do about my best Falcon Paladin impression, and be like and just tear it apart,
Do it. Go for it. Try.
and then just throw in like a nar.
Fuck you.
Which Somicron still denies he does. Which is
I do not know. Like,
I don't know what you're talking about.
all right.
Man, so I went into Pig stream and dropped a like I was like nar, and he's like, "Are you making fun of me how I say nar, mate?" And I was like, "Oh, now I feel bad," because he like wasn't amused. I was like, "Oh, nar."
oh no. Nah,
I can't. Sorry, I can't hop on these podcasts and not
Not drop an hour.
drop a.
all right. Well,
thanks
that's
for having me, guys.
Yeah, it's going to be it from us. It's been Duddles. You want to plug anything before you go?
I have absolutely nothing to plug.
Awesome. Check him out on Twitter. We'll put his Twitter handle in the show notes. And yeah, check out the merch. Check out the Patreon page if you feel like supporting us that way. And until next time, as always, thanks for being here. And you take care of yourself.
Goodbye.